Hi, I'm Esther Kane with SeniorSafetyAdvice.com. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I read a great article recently on Forbes magazine by Carolyn Rosenblatt. And the article is basically about 3 very common mistakes that family caregivers make when it comes to taking over their parents' finances. So I'm going to have a link to the original article below in the description, as well as a link to another article that we wrote on our website about the kinds of legal documents that family caregivers should have in place for their senior loved ones. And actually, it's the kind of article senior loved ones should have in place for their family caregivers. So I'll have those 2 links down in the description below. But in this Forbes article, she talks about these 3 common mistakes and why they're common mistakes. So I'm going to give you a little review of them. But before we get into the article, make sure to click on the subscribe button. We appreciate each and every single one of our subscribers. And of course, the like button and the bell if you want to get notified of any of our upcoming videos. All right, so what are the 3 common mistakes? Mistake number 1 is failure to communicate. And this is basically, about talking to your parents about, what do you want to happen if you had a stroke? What do you want to happen if, you were diagnosed with, a chronic illness? Or what do you want to happen if you were in a car accident and couldn't tell me what you want to happen? Having those very difficult, I know they're difficult, but having those very difficult conversations with your parent at least gives you an opening, an idea of what it is that they want, and it gives them the opportunity to maybe begin putting things in place of what needs to get done. I mean, I'm talking about wills and trusts and power of attorneys and any other legal documents that your elder law attorney, feels that you need, depending on your situation. But you definitely want to begin that conversation as early as possible. Personally, I think as soon as someone becomes a parent, they should create a will, have a trust, power of attorney, have all those kinds of things in place. But unfortunately, that's not usually part of the birthing process, having all that done. But you want to try and get that done as soon as possible, because the truth is, even if you do have power of attorneys and trust and all of that set up, it seems like it's in the distance. And then once it actually comes to fruition, it's going to be very difficult for your parent or parents to let go. It's sort of like, you know that at some point in time you're not going to be safe to drive, so you're going to have to give up your keys. And that's okay to think about it now, but you're thinking that it's, 10, 20, 30 years in the future. But then when all of a sudden it comes to be that time, it's not going to be so easy to let go of those keys. So it's the same type of thing. You're going to have to tug away those keys away from your parent, to start working on doing their bills and all of that kind of thing. So there's some solutions that you can use that may make it a little easier. One is to do the finances with them. While they're doing the bills, maybe set up a date, the 15th of every month. The 2 of you are going to work together on their finances, accounting, whatever. And that's a good way to not only get an overview of what it is that your parents are managing financially, but to see how they are doing, if they're doing okay, if they're missing information, if they're getting duped by some scam mails or emails or whatever. Another way is to take it over slowly. Maybe you can begin by paying the electric bill, just the electric bill for a few months, and then maybe you can add the gas bill a couple of months later, whatever. Just take it over slowly, so it's not as if you're just grabbing everything away from them, all of a sudden. So those ways may help you to start yanking the financial responsibilities away from your mom or dad or whatever other senior you are caring for. All right, so mistake number 2 is using a revocable power of attorney versus an irrevocable power of attorney. The truth is that a lot of standard power of attorneys are revocable. And what that means is that the principal person, the senior, can at any point say, oh, I'm canceling this, it's null and void, it's done. and then that's it. All the power of attorney that you thought you had are completely gone, so you lose your ability to help them manage their finances or to manage it for them. So you want to make sure that, one, if you do have a power of attorney, that it is a irrevocable one, and two, that if you're going to go get a power of attorney, that you use a elder law attorney, because they're most informed of this type of situations, and that you get an irrevocable one, because then in that instance, once it's signed, that's it. It cannot be removed away from you by the principal person, by the senior person. And I do want to urge you to look for an elder law attorney that has maybe been around for a while, because they are aware of, or at least they've worked with clients that have been through a multitude of situations, all kinds of different situations, and they can then take that experience and help you to put together the right kind of language, the right kind of form, so that it can help protect you and your senior loved one as much as possible. And that leads us to mistake number 3. And what she writes, what Carolyn Rosenblatt writes, is mistake number 3 is failure to look at your aging parent's trust, or power of attorney or will, whatever, to see how it defines the word incapacity. And the reason that this is important is because often it can be written in a very vague manner, so that if your parent were to have a stroke, the language in the power of attorney may not exactly give you all the power that you need to manage their finances, because they're not necessarily incapacitated according to the definition in that power of attorney. So you want to make sure that that documentation addresses things like, like a stroke, like a dementia or Alzheimer's, or, paralysis, or whatever other situations that may come up. And again, an experienced elder law attorney would have those background stories to remember, to say, oh yeah, we need to put this in here because I remember that happened to so-and-so. And we need to put this in here because I know I've had experience with that happening to so-and-so. So that is where it may be worth the money to pay for someone that's been around the block a little bit. But those kinds of situations can really impact how you will take over once and if the situation comes that you have to take over. I want to just go back to mistake number 2. What I forgot to say was that a lot of banks will not accept a revocable power of attorney because there's so many scams out there now against elders that they want to make sure that whatever paperwork you bring in is tightly sealed, and that would be an irrevocable power of attorney, or they may have you go through their own power of attorney. So one thing you want to do is to contact your bank and ask them what paperwork do they need. Would they insist on you having to, you and your senior loved one, to do their power of attorney, or can you use your own irrevocable one? Forgot to mention that. Well, those are the 3 very common mistakes, and I hope the information was useful for you. Of course, give us your comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know, what mistakes you've seen yourself, or a family member or friend, and share that information with our readers and our subscribers. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time listening to this video. Again, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and give us your comments. And have a happy, happy holiday. And we will see you next time. Take care. Bye.